First contact and new beginnings. The gleaming spires of New Jakarta rose like crystalline fingers against the burnt orange sky, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. Dr. Samara Potel stood at the window of her apartment, sipping her morning coffee and marveling at how much had changed in the past decade. Earth's first contact with an alien species, the Zarquin, had reshaped every aspect of human society. Samara's comm unit chimed, startling her from her reverie. She tapped the device on her wrist, and a holographic image of her colleague, Dr. Marcus Chen, sprang to life. "Sam, have you seen the news?" Marcus's excited voice filled the room. "The Zarquin High Council approved our joint research proposal. We're going to be working with them directly." Samara's heart raced. For years, she had dreamed of this opportunity, a chance to study Zarquin biology up close, to unlock the secrets of their advanced genetic engineering techniques. "That's incredible, Marcus. When do we start?" "That's the thing," Marcus replied, his grin widening. "They want us on the first shuttle to their orbital station, tomorrow." The next 24 hours passed in a blur of preparation and anticipation. As Samara boarded the sleek, silver shuttle that would take her to the Zarquin research station, she couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. The Zarquin were notoriously private about their biology and social structures. This level of access was unprecedented. The journey to the station was smooth and swift, a testament to Zarquin technology. As Samara and her team of 5 other human scientists disembarked, they were greeted by a sight that took their breath away. The Zarquin orbital station was a marvel of engineering, a massive structure of interlocking rings and spheres that seemed to defy the laws of physics. A tall, willowy figure approached them, moving with an otherworldly grace. The Zarquin stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent skin that shimmered with patterns of light. 4 arms emerged from a torso that tapered to a narrow waist, and large, multifaceted eyes regarded the humans with an unreadable expression. "Greetings, Earth scientists," the Zarquin spoke, its voice a melodious trill that seemed to resonate in Samara's chest. "I am Zaxilian, lead researcher and overseer of this collaborative project. Welcome to our humble abode." Samara stepped forward, bowing slightly as she had been instructed during their cultural briefings. "Thank you for your hospitality, Zaxilian. We are honored to be here and eager to begin our work together." Zaxilian's skin rippled with patterns of blue and green, which Samara recognized as a sign of pleasure. "Excellent. Please follow me. I will show you to your quarters and then to the primary research laboratory." As they walked through the station's curved corridors, Samara couldn't help but marvel at the seamless integration of technology and biology. Living plants seemed to grow from the walls, their leaves pulsing with bioluminescent light. Holographic displays flickered to life as they passed, showing incomprehensible strings of Zarquin script. "Your station is amazing," Marcus commented, his eyes wide with wonder. "The way you've integrated organic and inorganic systems is far beyond anything we've achieved on Earth." Zaxilian's skin shimmered with what might have been pride. "We have had many millennia to perfect our craft, but do not sell your species short, Dr. Chen. Your adaptability and creativity are traits we find most intriguing. It is why we agreed to this collaboration." They arrived at a large, circular chamber that Zaxilian introduced as their primary work area. Banks of unfamiliar equipment lined the walls, and in the center stood a massive holographic projector. "We will begin our work here tomorrow," Zaxilian explained. "For now, please rest and acclimate to the station's environment. Your bodies may need time to adjust to our gravity and atmospheric conditions." As the humans settled into their quarters, Samara couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Despite Zaxilian's welcoming demeanor, she sensed an undercurrent of tension among the other Zarquin they had encountered. Many had regarded the humans with what seemed like a mix of curiosity and apprehension. That night, as Samara lay in her bed, staring at the unfamiliar constellations visible through her room's transparent ceiling, she pondered the challenges that lay ahead. Cultural misunderstandings were inevitable, but she was determined to bridge the gap between their species. The next morning, the human team assembled in the research chamber, eager to begin their work. Zaxxilyan and a team of Zarquin scientists joined them, their skin shimmering with patterns that Samara was beginning to recognize as excitement. "Today, we embark on a journey of mutual discovery," Zaxxilyan announced, its voice resonating through the chamber. "Our goal is to combine Zarquin genetic engineering techniques with human medical knowledge to create new treatments for diseases that plague both our species." As Zaxxilyan began to explain the intricacies of their research plan, Samara noticed something odd. The other Zarquin scientists seemed distracted, their skin flickering with rapid patterns of color. Some were shifting restlessly, their forearms moving in complex, agitated gestures. Suddenly, one of the Zarquin let out a high-pitched trill and collapsed to the floor. The others immediately gathered around their fallen comrade, chittering in their native language. "What's happening?" Samara asked, alarmed. "Are they all right?" Zaxxilyan's skin had paled to a muted gray. I apologize. We did not anticipate this complication. It seems that our reproductive cycle is beginning earlier than expected." Marcus stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his concern. "Reproductive cycle? You mean like a mating season?" Zaxxilyan's skin flushed a deep purple. "It is more complex than that, and far more disruptive. I fear our work may be compromised if we cannot find a way to manage this situation." As Samara watched the Zarquin scientists help their collapsed colleague from the room, she realized that their carefully planned collaboration had just become far more complicated than anyone had anticipated. The real challenge, it seemed, was only beginning. The first day of research ended in confusion and barely contained chaos. The human team retreated to their quarters, struggling to process what they had witnessed. Samara paced in her room, her mind racing with questions and concerns. A soft chime at her door interrupted her thoughts. She opened it to find Marcus standing there, looking as troubled as she felt. "Can't sleep either?" he asked with a wry smile. Samara shook her head and invited him in. They sat at the small table near the window, the unfamiliar stars twinkling beyond. "What do you make of all this?" Samara asked, running a hand through her hair. "I've never seen anything like it. The way they just lost control." Marcus leaned back, his brow furrowed in thought. "It's fascinating from a biological perspective. A species-wide synchronized reproductive cycle. The implications are enormous. But from a practical standpoint, it's a disaster," Samara finished for him. "How are we supposed to conduct our research if half the Zarquin team is incapacitated?" "Maybe that's part of the research now," Marcus suggested, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "Think about it, Sam. We're witnessing something no human has ever seen before. This could be the key to understanding Zarquin biology on a fundamental level." Samara considered his words. He had a point, but the ethical implications made her uneasy. "We can't just turn their medical crisis into a research opportunity, Marcus. They're not lab specimens, they're our colleagues." Before Marcus could respond, their comm units chimed simultaneously. Zaxxilyan's voice filled the room, sounding strained. "Earth scientists, your presence is requested in the main conference chamber immediately. We require your assistance." Exchanging worried glances, Samara and Marcus hurried to wake the rest of their team. Within minutes, they were assembled in the conference chamber, facing a group of visibly agitated Zarquin. Zaxxilyan stood at the center, its skin cycling through a rapid series of colors. "Esteemed colleagues," it began, its usual melodious voice now ragged. "We find ourselves in an unprecedented situation. Our reproductive cycle, which we call the luminescent confluence, has begun far earlier than our calculations predicted. We are ill-prepared." Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the team's endocrinologist, stepped forward. "How can we help, Zaxxilyan? What do you need from us?" Zaxxilyan's 4 hands moved in complex patterns, a sign of distress. "The luminescent confluence affects our cognitive functions, Our emotional control, even our physiological processes. We had safeguards in place, treatments to manage the symptoms, but they were meant for a later date. We do not have enough. Samara's mind raced, piecing together the implications. You're saying that without these treatments, your entire species on this station will be incapacitated. For how long? Weeks, Zaxian replied, its voice barely above a whisper. Perhaps longer. And the effects, they can be severe. Dangerous, even. The human team exchanged alarmed glances. This was far beyond what any of them had prepared for. Marcus, ever the problem solver, spoke up. Okay, let's approach this systematically. First, we need to understand exactly what these treatments do. Then we can see if there's a way to synthesize more or find alternatives. Zaxlian nodded, gratitude evident in its shifting skin patterns. Yes, we will provide you with all the information we have. But please understand, this knowledge is sensitive, sacred even. We have never shared it with outsiders before. Samara stepped forward, her voice firm but compassionate. We understand the trust you're placing in us, Zaxlian. We'll do everything in our power to help, and we'll respect the confidentiality of what you share. As the Zaraquin began transferring data to the human team's devices, Samara couldn't shake a feeling of both excitement and dread. They were about to delve into the most intimate aspects of Zarquin biology and culture. The potential for groundbreaking discoveries was immense, but so was the risk of catastrophic misunderstandings. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. The human scientists worked around the clock, poring over Zarquin biological data, analyzing the composition of their reproductive cycle treatments, and brainstorming potential solutions. Samara found herself working closely with Zaxlian, who seemed to be one of the few Zarquins still capable of maintaining some semblance of composure. As they huddled over holographic displays of molecular structures, Samara couldn't help but notice the subtle changes in Zaxlian's behavior, the occasional tremor in its hands, the increasingly frequent lapses in concentration. Zaxlian, Samara said gently during one of these moments, maybe you should rest. We can handle things for a while. Zaxlian's skin rippled with a pattern Samara had come to recognize as a mix of frustration and gratitude. I appreciate your concern, Dr. Patel, but I must continue. As the project leader, it is my responsibility to see this through. Samara placed a hand on one of Zaxlian's arms, a gesture she hoped would translate across species. You're no good to anyone if you collapse. Please take a break. We'll wake you if there are any breakthroughs. After a moment's hesitation, Zaxlian nodded. Perhaps you are right. Thank you, Samara. Your kindness is unexpected, but most welcome. As Zaxlian retreated to its quarters, Samara turned back to her work with renewed determination. She couldn't shake the feeling that the fate of both their species' future cooperation rested on the outcome of this crisis. Hours blended into days as the human team raced against time. The effects of the luminescent confluence were becoming more pronounced among the Zarquin population. Reports of erratic behavior and physiological distress flooded in from all sections of the station. It was during one particularly frustrating attempt to synthesize a key component of the Zarquin treatment that Samara had a sudden insight. She called the team together, her eyes bright with excitement. I think I found something, she announced, pulling up a holographic model. Look at this molecular structure. It's similar to a compound we use in human fertility treatments, but with some key differences. Elena leaned in, her eyes widening. You're right. If we could modify our compound to match this structure, we might be able to create a substitute treatment, Marcus finished, a grin spreading across his face. Samara, you're a genius. The next few hours were a frenzy of activity as the team worked to test Samara's theory. When Zaxlian returned, looking more composed but still clearly struggling, Samara shared their progress. It's not a perfect solution, she explained, but we think it might help manage the symptoms until your own treatments can be synthesized in sufficient quantities. Zaxalian's skin lit up with a brilliance Samara had never seen before. Dr. Petal, Samara, if this works, you'll have saved not just our research project, but potentially our entire population on this station. We are in your debt. As the first batch of the modified treatment was prepared for testing, Samara felt a mix of hope and trepidation. They were on the brink of either a momentous breakthrough or a catastrophic failure. Either way, the relationship between humans and Zarquin would never be the same. The first phase of testing the modified treatment on a small group of volunteer Zarquin scientists was nerve-wracking. Samara, Marcus, and the rest of the human team watched anxiously as Dr. Rodriguez administered the compound under the supervision of the few Zarquin medical professionals who were still functional. Hours ticked by with agonizing slowness. The volunteers were monitored constantly, their vital signs and neurological patterns displayed on huge holographic screens. Samara found herself holding her breath every time there was the slightest fluctuation in the data. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Dr. Rodriguez approached the team, a cautious smile on her face. "Preliminary results are promising," she announced. "The treatment seems to be stabilizing their neurochemistry. It's not a cure, but it's definitely mitigating the more severe symptoms." A collective sigh of relief swept through the room. Zaxalian, who had been hovering nearby, its skin a constantly shifting kaleidoscope of anxious colors, suddenly stilled. This is remarkable," it said, its voice filled with awe. "You have achieved in days what would have taken our scientists years to discover." Samara felt a flush of pride, but she tempered it with caution. "It's a good start, but we're not out of the woods yet. We need to monitor the long-term effects and make sure there are no unforeseen complications." Marcus nodded in agreement. "And we need to scale up production quickly. There are thousands of Zarquin on this station who need treatment." The next few days were a blur of activity. The human team worked tirelessly alongside their Zarquin colleagues to produce and distribute the modified treatment. As more and more Zarcosmic chaos and unexpected alliances, the Zarquin orbital station, once a beacon of interstellar cooperation, had transformed into a swirling vortex of barely contained chaos. Dr. Samara Potel stood at the viewport of the main research lab, watching in awe as tendrils of bioluminescent energy danced across the station's hull. The luminescent confluence was in full swing, and its effects were far more extraordinary than anyone could have predicted. "Samara, you need to see this." Dr. Marcus Chen's excited voice crackled over the comm. "Meet me in Observation Deck C, ASAP." Curiosity piqued, Samara hurried through the corridors. As she ran, she noticed strange phenomena occurring throughout the station. Plants that lined the walls were growing at an accelerated rate, their vines twisting into complex fractal patterns. The very air seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly energy. She burst onto the observation deck, breathless, and froze in her tracks. Through the massive transparent dome, she saw a sight that defied explanation. The space around the station was alive with swirling colors, like an aurora borealis stretched across the cosmos. "What in the world?" Samara breathed, her scientific mind struggling to process what she was seeing. Marcus turned to her, his eyes wide with excitement. "It's not just affecting the Zarquin biology. The luminescent confluence is somehow interacting with the fabric of space-time itself." As they watched, a patch of the swirling energy coalesced into a shimmering portal. Through it, they caught glimpses of alien landscapes and distant stars. "Are those other dimensions?" Samara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Before Marcus could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Zaxalian's voice, strained but urgent, came over the comm system. "Attention all personnel. We are detecting multiple anomalies throughout the station. Please report to your designated safe zones immediately." Samara and Marcus exchanged worried glances. They knew their modified treatment was helping manage the Zarquin's symptoms, But clearly, the luminescent confluence had far-reaching consequences they hadn't anticipated. As they made their way to the central hub, they encountered scenes of both wonder and concern. In one corridor, they saw a group of Zarquin scientists hovering several feet off the ground, their bodies surrounded by crackling fields of energy. In another, they had to dodge a swarm of what looked like miniature galaxies, swirling and colliding in mid-air. When they reached the central hub, they found Zaxxlian coordinating emergency responses. Its skin was a riot of colors, reflecting the chaos around them. Dr. Patel, Dr. Chen, Zaxxlian acknowledged them, its voice tight with stress. The situation has escalated beyond our worst fears. The luminescent confluence is not just affecting our biology, it's altering the very laws of physics within the station. As if to underscore Zaxxlian's words, a nearby console suddenly melted, its components rearranging themselves into an impossible, S-chair-like structure. "We need to contain this," Samara said, her mind racing. If these effects spread beyond the station, it could reshape reality itself, Marcus finished, his voice grim. Zaxxlian's skin pulsed with a pattern Samara had never seen before. "There is a possibility," it said hesitantly. "An ancient Zarquin technique, long abandoned due to its dangers. We call it the harmonic resonance protocol." "What does it do?" Samara asked, intrigued despite the dire circumstances. "It allows us to synchronize our bioelectric fields, creating a stabilizing resonance that can dampen the effects of the confluence," Zaxxlian explained. "But it requires perfect harmony among participants. One misstep, and the feedback could be catastrophic." Marcus frowned. "But with the Zarquin population in various states of, confluence, how could you achieve that harmony?" Zaxxlian's gaze fixed on Samara and Marcus. "We can't, not alone, but perhaps, with your help, we might have a chance." Samara's eyes widened as she realized the implications. "You want us to participate in the harmonic resonance, but we're not Zarquin. Our biology is completely different." "Precisely," Zaxxlian said, its voice taking on an almost reverent tone. "Your unique neural patterns, combined with the effects of the treatment you developed, might be the key to stabilizing the resonance." As Samara and Marcus absorbed this information, a thunderous crack echoed through the station. Through the viewports, they saw a massive fissure forming in space itself, threatening to tear the station apart. "We're out of time," Zaxxlian said urgently. "Will you help us?" Samara looked at Marcus, seeing her own mix of fear and determination reflected in his eyes. They nodded in unison. "What do we need to do?" Samara asked. What followed was a crash course in Zarquin metaphysics and quantum harmonics. Samara, Marcus, and the rest of the human team were quickly outfitted with specially designed neural interfaces, allowing them to sync with the Zarquin bioelectric fields. As they prepared for the harmonic resonance protocol, Samara couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of their situation. Here they were, a handful of humans, about to engage in an ancient alien ritual to save reality itself from unraveling. The central hub had been cleared, its floor inscribed with intricate patterns that pulsed with otherworldly light. The human team stood at key points around the circle, surrounded by Zarquin scientists in various states of confluence-induced ecstasy. "Remember," Zaxxlian instructed, its voice resonating on multiple frequencies, "focus on the harmony. Feel the rhythm of the universe itself. Let your consciousness expand beyond the boundaries of your physical form." As the harmonic resonance began, Samara felt a tingling sensation spreading from the neural interface throughout her body. The air around them began to shimmer, and she could see strands of energy connecting everyone in the circle. Suddenly, her perception shifted. She was no longer just Samara Patel, human scientist. She was a node in a vast cosmic web, connected to every Zarquin, every human, every atom in the station and beyond. Through this expanded awareness, she could sense the turbulent energies of the luminescent confluence, threatening to tear apart the very fabric of spacetime. but she could also feel the stabilizing influence of the harmonic resonance, like a soothing melody bringing order to chaos. As the resonance built, Samara became aware of a presence beside her. It wasn't physical, but a consciousness intertwining with her own. With a jolt of recognition, she realized it was Zaxxillion. In this space, beyond the barriers of language and species, they communicated in pure concepts and emotions. Samara saw flashes of Zarquin history, the beauty and terror of the luminescent confluence, the hopes and fears Zaxxillion held for its people. In return, she shared her own experiences, the wonder of scientific discovery, the complexity of human emotions, the dream of peaceful cooperation between their species. As their minds merged further, Samira had a stunning realization. The luminescent confluence wasn't just a biological process. It was the Zarquin's way of connecting with the fundamental forces of the universe itself. And now, through this unlikely alliance, humans were becoming part of that cosmic dance. With this understanding came a surge of power. Samara felt herself becoming a conduit for energies she could barely comprehend. Through her, through all of them, the chaotic forces of the confluence were being channeled, refined, and harmonized. In the physical world, the effects were dramatic. The spatial rifts began to close, the laws of physics reasserted themselves, and the swirling maelstrom of energies calmed. The station, and perhaps reality itself, had been pulled back from the brink of destruction. As the harmonic resonance slowly subsided, Samara found herself back in her body, gasping for breath. Around her, humans and Zarquin alike were coming to their senses, looking dazed but triumphant. Zaxxillion approached her, its skin glowing with a soft, peaceful light. "Dr. Patel, Samara," it said, its voice filled with emotion. "What you and your team have done today goes beyond anything we could have imagined. You've not only saved us from disaster, you've opened up entirely new realms of possibility." Samara smiled, still reeling from the experience. "I think we've all ventured into uncharted territory today, Zaxxillion. The question is, where do we go from here?" As the station slowly returned to normal operations, Samara knew that nothing would ever be the same. The boundaries between human and Zarquin, between science and mysticism, between the known and the unknowable, had been irrevocably blurred. The true adventure, it seemed, was only beginning. Quantum entanglement of hearts and minds. The aftermath of the harmonic resonance protocol left the Nebula Seeker station in a state of unprecedented transformation. Dr. Samara Patel stood in the newly formed Nexus chamber, a room that had spontaneously materialized during the height of the cosmic chaos. Its walls shimmered with holographic equations and alien glyphs, constantly shifting and rearranging themselves. "Incredible," she breathed, reaching out to touch a floating symbol. As her fingers made contact, a burst of knowledge flooded her mind, complex theorems and cosmic truths beyond human comprehension. "Careful, Sam," Dr. Marcus Chen cautioned, pulling her hand back gently. "We still don't fully understand the ramifications of our merger with the Zarquin consciousness." Samara nodded, blinking away the lingering visions of multidimensional realities. The harmonic resonance had changed them all in ways they were only beginning to grasp. Human and Zarquin alike were reporting strange new abilities, flashes of telepathy, momentary bouts of telekinesis, and glimpses of possible futures. Zaxxillion entered the Nexus chamber, its skin rippling with patterns that Samara could now instinctively understand as a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Esteemed colleagues," it began, its voice resonating on multiple frequencies, "we stand at the precipice of a new era in interspecies relations and cosmic understanding." Before Zaxxillion could continue, alarms blared throughout the station. A holographic display materialized in the center of the room, showing a massive spatial anomaly forming near the station. "By the cosmic weavers," Zaxxillion exclaimed, its skin paling to a ghostly white. "It's a hyperdimensional rift. The residual energies of the luminescent confluence must have weakened the barriers between realities." As they watched in horror, tendrils of otherworldly energy began to seep through the rift, coalescing into bizarre, geometrically impossible shapes. "We need to close it," Marcus said urgently. "If that rift fully opens, it could unleash untold horrors into our universe." Samara's mind raced, drawing on both her scientific knowledge and the cosmic insights gained during the harmonic resonance. "Wait," she said, an idea forming. "What if we don't close it? What if we redirect it?" All eyes turned to her, a mix of confusion and intrigue on both human and Zarquin faces. "Explain, Dr. Purtle," Zaxlian urged, its four arms moving in complex, anxious patterns. Samara stepped forward, her hands dancing through the holographic displays as she spoke. "The rift is a tear in the fabric of spacetine, yes, but it's also a conduit of pure, unfiltered cosmic energy. If we can harness that energy, channel it through the station's systems, we could create a quantum leap in our technological capabilities," Marcus finished, catching on to her train of thought. "But the risks are immense," Samara acknowledged. "But so are the potential benefits. Imagine clean, limitless energy, the ability to terraform barren worlds in days instead of centuries, maybe even the power to prevent cosmic-scale disasters." Zaxlian's skin shimmered with rapid-fire calculations. It could work. But we would need a focal point, something to act as a conduit for the hyperdimensional energies. A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. They all knew what, or rather, who, the most suitable conduit would be. Samara took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "I'll do it," she said firmly. "My mind has already been altered by the harmonic resonance. I have the best chance of surviving the process." "Samara, no," Marcus protested, grabbing her arm. "We don't know what channeling that much energy could do to you. You could be lost, scattered across a million dimensions." She turned to him, her eyes filled with determination and a hint of fear. "Someone has to take the risk, Marcus. For both our species, for the future of cosmic exploration and understanding. I'm the logical choice." Before anyone could argue further, the station shuddered violently. The rift was growing, reality itself seeming to warp around its edges. "We're out of time," Zaxlian announced grimly. "Dr. Purtle, if you're certain." Samara nodded, her heart pounding but her resolve unwavering. "I'm ready." What followed was a flurry of activity as both humans and Zarquin worked to modify the station's systems. Samara was placed in a specially designed chamber at the heart of the Nexus, surrounded by a complex array of hybrid technology. As the final preparations were made, Marcus approached her, his eyes filled with unspoken emotions. "Samara, be careful out there, in the cosmic whatever. Come back to us, come back to me." Samara felt a surge of warmth in her chest. There would be time to explore those feelings later, if she survived. "I'll do my best," she promised softly. Zaxlian initiated the sequence, its four hands dancing across control panels. Commencing hyperdimensional energy redirection in 3, 2, 1. The world exploded into light and sensation. Samara felt herself stretched across infinite realities, her consciousness expanding to encompass the vastness of the cosmos. She saw the birth and death of stars, the intricate dance of galaxies, the hidden threads that bound all of existence together. Through it all, she clung to her sense of self, using the memories of her life, her work, and the connections she'd forged as an anchor in the swirling maelstrom of cosmic power. In the physical world, the station hummed with unprecedented energy. Systems overclocked, new technologies spontaneously manifested, and for a brief, shining moment, the secrets of the universe seemed within grasp. Then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. The rift closed with a thunderous boom, and Samara found herself back in her body, gasping for air. As the smoke cleared and emergency systems kicked in, the full extent of the transformation became apparent. The Nebula Seeker was no longer just a space station. It had become something more. A hybrid of organic and mechanical, of known science and cosmic mystery. Samara stumbled out of the chamber on shaky legs, supported by Marcus and Zaxlian. Did it work? She managed to ask, her voice hoarse. Zaxlian's skin rippled with awe and excitement. Beyond our wildest expectations, Dr. Petal. You've ushered in a new age of discovery and cooperation. As Samara looked around at the transformed station, at the faces of her human and Zarquin colleagues filled with wonder and possibility, she knew that their journey was far from over. They had touched the cosmic infinite, and nothing would ever be the same. The stars themselves seemed to beckon, promising adventures beyond imagination. And this time, humans and Zarquin would face them together, bound by shared experience and a glimpse of the universe's grand design. So, Samara said, a smile tugging at her lips despite her exhaustion, what impossible problem shall we solve next? The Nexus chamber erupted in laughter and excited chatter, as minds both human and alien began to grapple with the endless possibilities that lay before them. The future, it seemed, was limitless. Cosmic synergy and the quantum nexus. The Nebula Seeker, once a mere space station, now pulsed with an otherworldly energy that defied conventional physics. Dr. Samara Potel stood at the heart of the newly formed quantum nexus, a swirling vortex of data and cosmic energy that had replaced the station's main control room. Her eyes, now flecked with iridescent patterns, scanned the holographic displays that danced around her. Incoming transmission from Earth Central Command announced the station's AI, its voice a harmonious blend of human and Zarquin tones. Samara took a deep breath, straightening her newly designed uniform, a seamless fusion of terrestrial fabrics and living Zarquin biotechnology. On screen, she commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing the stern face of Admiral Jackson Steele. His eyes widened as he took in Samara's altered appearance and the alien architecture behind her. Dr. Petal, he began, his voice a mix of awe and apprehension. Your last report was concerning. We need a full explanation of what's happening up there. The global media is in a frenzy, and the scientific community is divided. What exactly have you done? Samara smiled, a hint of cosmic knowledge glinting in her eyes. Admiral, we've unlocked the next stage of human and Zarquin evolution. The quantum nexus isn't just a technological breakthrough, it's a bridge between dimensions, a conduit to untapped realms of science and consciousness. Before the Admiral could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Dr. Marcus Chen rushed into the nexus, his lab coat shimmering with bioluminescent patterns. Samara, he exclaimed, excitement and worry warring in his voice. The nexus is picking up something big, really big. With a thought, Samara expanded the holographic display. A massive object was approaching the station at impossible speeds, defying all known laws of physics. By the cosmic web, breathed Zaxlian, entering the nexus with fluid grace. It's a hypersphere, a theoretical construct from ancient Zarquin myths, a vessel that exists simultaneously in multiple dimensions. The Admiral's face paled. Dr. Petal, if that thing is hostile. It's not, Admiral, Samara interrupted, her voice filled with certainty. It's calling to us. As if in response to her words, the hypersphere began to emit pulses of energy that resonated with the quantum nexus. The entire station hummed, and Samara felt a familiar tug in her mind, similar to the harmonic resonance, but infinitely more vast. We're receiving a transmission, Marcus announced, his fingers dancing over holographic controls. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Multi-dimensional data packets, quantum-entangled messages. Samara closed her eyes, reaching out with her enhanced senses. In her mind's eye, she saw a tapestry of interconnected civilizations, spanning galaxies and dimensions. The hypersphere was a nexus point, a cosmic hub where diverse species came together to share knowledge and explore the deepest mysteries of existence. Her eyes snapped open. It's an invitation, she breathed. They're inviting us to join a galactic coalition of advanced civilizations. The Zarquin luminescent confluence and our quantum breakthrough have proven we're ready. Admiral Steele's jaw dropped. But the Galactic Coalition, Dr. Patel, the implications are beyond anything we could have imagined, Samara finished. This isn't just first contact, Admiral. This is humanity's chance to step onto the cosmic stage. Zaxxalin's skin rippled with patterns of excitement and trepidation. The ancient prophecies spoke of this moment, the convergence of realms, but we never dreamed it would happen in our lifetime, or that we would share it with another species. The station shuddered as the hypersphere drew closer. Reality itself seemed to bend around it, creating a kaleidoscope of dimensional rifts. We need to decide quickly, Marcus urged. That thing is going to be here in minutes, and I don't think our current physics can handle prolonged exposure. Samara turned to the Admiral, her eyes blazing with determination. Sir, I know this is unprecedented, but we need your authorization. Humanity and the Zarquin stepping into the unknown together. This is the moment that will define our species for eons to come. Admiral Steele was silent for a long moment, the weight of the decision visible in the lines of his face. Finally he nodded. You have my authorization, Dr. Patel. Make us proud, make history. As the transmission cut off, Samara turned to her team, human and Zarquin alike. All right, people. We're about to embark on the greatest adventure in the history of both our species. Let's show the cosmos what we're made of. The next few minutes were a whirlwind of activity. The station's systems were recalibrated to interface with the approaching hypersphere. Samara, Marcus, and Zaxxalin stood at the heart of the quantum nexus, their minds and bodies primed for the upcoming cosmic leap. As the hypersphere made contact, a surge of energy unlike anything they had ever experienced flooded the station. Samara felt her consciousness expand, connecting with minds across dimensions and realities. In that moment of cosmic synergy, she saw the true nature of the universe, a grand, interconnected web of life and consciousness, with infinite potential for growth and discovery. The Nebula Seeker shuddered, its structure morphing and adapting. When the transformation was complete, the station had become something entirely new, a quantum arc capable of traversing the multiverse. As the dust settled, Samara opened her eyes to a view that took her breath away. The familiar starscape had been replaced by a swirling cosmic tapestry, alive with possibilities. Well, she said, a smile of wonder and determination on her face, shall we see what's out there? With a shared look of excitement and trepidation, the crew of the newly christened Quantum Arc took their first step into a larger universe, ready to forge alliances, unlock cosmic secrets, and shape the very fabric of reality itself. The greatest adventure in human and Zarquin history had only just begun, and the cosmos would never be the same. Quantum Odyssey, echoes of eternity. The Quantum Arc, once the humble Nebula Seeker station, now sailed through the kaleidoscopic expanse of the multiverse. Dr. Samara Patel stood at the helm, her form shimmering with quantum energy, a living bridge between human intuition and cosmic awareness. Dimensional shift in progress, announced AOIA, the ship's artificial resonance intelligence amalgam. Preparing for transition to universe designation, Omega Epsilon 42. Samara nodded, her iridescent eyes scanning the swirling vortex ahead. Status report, team. Dr. Marcus Chen, his body now a seamless blend of organic tissue and quantum-entangled nanites, spoke up. Harmony drives at 98% efficiency. The Zarquin biomatrix is perfectly synchronized with our human neural net. We're ready for the jump, Captain. Excellent, Samara replied, a smile playing on her lips. The title still felt strange. She had gone from xenobiologist to captain of an interdimensional ship in a matter of weeks. But time, as they had discovered, was a fluid concept in the grand tapestry of the multiverse. Zaxxalin, the Zarquin scientist whose crystalline form now pulsed with streams of data, moved gracefully to Samara's side. The cosmic concordat is eagerly awaiting our arrival. Our mission to map the quantum nexus has yielded results beyond their wildest expectations. As the quantum arc approached the dimensional threshold, alarms suddenly blared. The ship shuddered, caught in an unexpected gravitational eddy. Quantum turbulence detected. Aria's voice resonated through the bridge. Unknown entity emerging from subspace. The viewscreen exploded with light, revealing a massive, writhing form composed of pure energy. Tendrils of chromatic lightning arced across its surface, and at its core, a swirling vortex of unimaginable power pulsated ominously. By the cosmic weave, Zaxlian breathed, its crystalline form vibrating with a mixture of awe and terror. It's a chronivore, a being that devours timelines. I thought they were just legends. Samara's mind raced, drawing on both her scientific knowledge and the cosmic insights gained during their journey. Our analysis. The A's response was immediate. Entity designated chronivore is attempting to consume our timeline. Probability of survival without intervention, 0.00000001%. Not on my watch, Samara growled, her hands dancing across the quantum interface. Marcus, divert all power to the harmony drives. Zaxlian, initiate a resonance cascade. We're going to surf this temporal wave. The crew sprang into action, their augmented forms moving with inhuman speed and precision. The quantum arc's engines roared to life, suffusing the ship with a radiant energy that rippled across dimensions. As the chronivore closed in, its maw of nothingness threatening to erase them from existence, Samara felt a familiar tug in her mind. The quantum nexus, the cosmic web that connected all realities, was calling to her. Everyone, link up, she commanded. We're going to show this cosmic aberration the true power of unity. In that moment, the barriers between species, between organic and artificial, between past and future, all melted away. The crew of the quantum arc became one with their ship, their consciousness expanding to encompass the very fabric of spacetime. Through their shared perception, they saw the chronivore for what it truly was, not a monster, but a wounded entity lashing out in pain and confusion. Eons of solitude in the void between realities had driven it to madness. With a thought that resonated across the cosmos, Samara reached out to the creature. You are not alone, she communicated. Her message carried on waves of quantum empathy. Let us help you find peace. The chronivore paused in its assault, tendrils of chronal energy wavering uncertainly. For a moment that stretched into eternity, the fate of multiple universes hung in the balance. Then, with a soundless cry that shook the foundations of reality, the chronivore surrendered. Its form began to dissipate, the destructive energy transforming into a shower of radiant temporal particles. As the danger passed, the crew of the quantum arc found themselves forever changed. The brush with cosmic forces had unlocked new potentials within them, blurring the lines between mortal and divine. Samara, her form now a swirling nexus of quantum possibilities, turned to her crew with eyes that held the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes. My friends, she said, her voice resonating with newfound power, we set out to explore the multiverse, but we've become something more. We are now the guardians of the quantum nexus, protectors of the cosmic tapestry itself. Marcus, his body a living constellation of stardust and knowledge, nodded solemnly. The cosmic concordat will have to wait. We have a greater calling now. Zaxlian, its crystalline form now a prism of infinite realities, chimed in with harmonious agreement. Our journey has only just begun. The multiverse needs us. As the quantum arc prepared to navigate the currents of eternity, Samara felt a surge of excitement and purpose. They had transcended the boundaries of species, of dimensionality, of existence itself. The adventures that lay ahead were beyond imagination, filled with cosmic wonders, interdimensional diplomacy, and the awesome responsibility of safeguarding the very fabric of reality. Aye, Samara commanded, her voice filled with determination and wonder, chart a course for the unknown. It's time we wrote our own legend in the stars. The quantum arc shimmered, its form adapting to the new cosmic awareness of its crew. With a burst of radiant energy, it vanished into the quantum foam, leaving behind a wake of possibilities and a promise of adventures yet to come. In the vast expanse of the multiverse, a new force had awakened, one that would shake the destiny of countless realities and rewrite the very laws of existence. The quantum odyssey had only just begun, and the echoes of their journey would resonate through eternity.